So today we're going to talk with Shannon Kelly about her fundraiser for Cry Ireland. Let's start off with why you're raising money for Cry and why it's so important to you.
So I started fundraising for Cry last year with a birthday fundraiser, just because I myself had some experience with cardiac issues, and what Cry stands for is cardiac risk in the young. So they support screening of families who are at risk or may have possibly a family member who has a cardiac issue. And to screen the other members, just to avoid sudden adult death syndrome, which is very high at the minute, and particularly in people participating in sports like marathons, endurance events. So I myself went into a screening program before an endurance triathlon in France. And I was found to have a clot in my heart, and it saved my life. So since then, I've been trying to raise funds for this great charity.
Tell us about the fundraiser that you're doing. So obviously people can make donations to the link. We'll attach these in the link below. But you also have partnered with your sponsor company to give people the opportunity to win a prize. Tell us a little bit about that.
So yeah, I've been working with Estrella Bikes as my bike sponsor for the last 3-4 years now. They're a great company for bespoke bikes, and I'm lucky enough to be sponsored by them, so I ride their bikes themselves. So what they're offering is my new bike is a carbon fiber bespoke frame and handlebars, aero handlebars, worth about $2,500, and they're offering this in a kind of cool design, kind of hashtag heart health scheme, that you can find pictures of all online, and they're offering this as the prize. So all you have to do is make a donation of no matter how little, how big you can afford, and then you tag 3 people, and you follow the 2 pages, Estrella and Cry Ireland, and you hashtag heart health, and it just gets the message out that what we're fundraising for, and just aware of Cry's services and what they do for other people.
Yeah, I really feel like it's brilliant that your sponsors stand behind you in this, and I actually saw that the hashtag heart health is on it, which is brilliant, because obviously you're out and about places cycling and you meet lots of people, and then whoever wins it will also have that out there. How did you come to deciding to put that on it? I think it's really cool that that's on the bike, and obviously highlights it permanently. Like, it's always going to be there. People are always going to see it.
I think it's a big part of my story, and since I race quite regularly, it reminds me why I'm doing what I'm doing. I love it, and when that was taken away from me, it was really hard. But I'm also just really passionate about trying to help other people so that this doesn't happen to anybody else. And if it can be caught, if somebody can be saved from just, going to their GP and saying, I'm having these symptoms, I'm having a few heart palpitations while I'm running, and that saves their lives just from seeing, oh, what's that hashtag heart health, what's that story about? And because I think people our age who are fit and healthy, who are running, who are cycling, whatever you may do in your sport, think that we're invincible sometimes. And we're not all the time. And there can be symptoms that we're ignoring because we think, oh, we're in our 20s or our teens. But it's really important to listen to our bodies and to get checked out. So yeah, between me and my sponsor, we just came up with hashtag heart health and get the message out there.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think a lot of younger people just take it in their stride. I think it's fine, that kind of thing. And obviously this was something that you have to do for competition, and inevitably did save your life. And I think look, talk to us a little bit about it, because I think it's really good for people to know what the experience was like, and to understand that, because again, if people ignore symptoms or ignore kind of how they're feeling and stuff. Like it is putting them at risk, and obviously this is something that people really want to avoid. So tell us a bit about the screening. I know that you've mentioned that it's very scary and that type of thing, but you've overcome everything and everything's all going well at the moment, which is brilliant. But just give people a bit of an insight into that.
Yeah, so luckily the triathlon that I was going to participate in requires you to have an ECG, but then also an echo, which is an ultrasound of your heart. So it basically shows you pictures of the chambers of your heart. Now, usually you wouldn't really get this unless you are symptomatic or you're going for an elite competition. But an ECG you can get from a nurse at your GP centre, and it can tell a lot. I was a medical student myself. I didn't have many symptoms looking back. I maybe felt a bit more fatigued, and looking back, maybe my training was not bringing me to the places it should have been in terms of fitness. But that's very hard to read when you're juggling college life or studies, and then you can just think you're tired. But like I said, I was a medical student. I didn't read the red flags that were there, and luckily the screening then just highlighted what was wrong. I was put on blood thinners, and luckily it was all sorted. But since then, like, I've had a few people come up to me saying, I was having a few issues. I've now got screened. One of them actually found out that she got diagnosed with long QT syndrome, which is another kind of condition that can be managed quite well, but it has to be found. So it's just really important, again, to listen to our bodies no matter what age we are. And especially if you're jumping into a new sport, maybe get yourself checked out by your GP just before, you go into that marathon training, or just before you start, that running group. Just to make sure that everything's okay. So it might just be bloods, and that your GP gives you a quick check over of your heart with a stethoscope and an ECG, something as simple as that. It takes about 5 minutes to 10 minutes, and it's really widely accessible.
It is. It's like it seems so simple, but something that particularly young people are not really doing. A lot of people think, we're not really going to have any, difficulties until later in life, and particularly with athletes, because we think all the time, yeah, it's fine, just training, or like that pain is related to training and that type of thing. So it's something that's really easily ignored. Talk to us a little bit about what you're doing at the moment. So you're back in action, training, you're still studying, so finally your medicine nearly there. Obviously things were thrown up in the air for a little while, so you're back in action now with everything. Go on, talk to us a bit about that.
Yeah, so I got diagnosed in April 2019, and I was fully kind of on the mend by the end of 2019. So I was luckily able to start back training in 2020. And I thought that was going to be a completely normal, competitive year. But for all of us, it threw a spanner in the works with COVID, unfortunately. But our group at home, Hope Up, our training group, we kind of just did a lot of things online, and was really grateful for the likes of the Cycling Ireland Zwift League. That was kind of some of the competing I did during lockdown. And then once lockdown ended, I did get to compete in one international in the Bundesliga. It's a triathlon league in Germany for my pro team, Tri-Team Hagen. So they're in Germany, located in Germany. So I raced for them. So that was a great experience to get over and do that. And then I was really also grateful for Athletics Ireland for running their nationals with no spectators on the track for the outdoor season. So I ran that in September, and I ran the 5K. So came top 15 in that. So, it just shows that even if, you get something like this diagnosed, whether it be a different health issue or something to do with your heart, that if you listen to the doctors, and if you do what you're told, and if you go back to it in the right way, you can get back to where you were. And it's not easy, but if you do have that love for sport, you will get back. So yeah, right now we're just in the winter training block. I luckily have escaped lockdown. I flew out before lockdown happened to Lanzarote just for some warm weather training, and we're going to stay out here due to what's happening at home. Pools are open here and there's very low numbers here, so hope to go back when things settle down. I am in final year of college. Placement is, we're in and out with the COVID issues, but we're doing a lot online. And I have 12 more weeks left from the end of January, and then I will be sitting my final med exams to become a doctor. So a lot going on.
No, it's really like, look, obviously, it was something that completely changed your life, but it's brilliant to see that you're back, able to do everything that you want to do, and back competing and back, finishing off college. Obviously, it's been a difficult year for everyone this year, but I think we just have to all, keep plodding on, and we'll get through it eventually. Tell us a bit about triathlon and starting off triathlon, what your goals are, and I know you're convincing as many people to try triathlon as possible, so tell us about it and your love for the sport.
Yeah, so I actually only started 4 years ago when I was a competitive swimmer growing up, kind of fell out of that when I went into college. And then when I went into medicine in UL, I picked it up. I just ended up doing a swim run when I was lifeguarding. I was a lifeguard as well, beach lifeguard. And I ended up being asked then by someone, oh, will you go get a bike? You're really good at this. And then I was brought on camp with Triathlon Ireland and I kind of caught the bug. But yeah, I'm really promoting it. I've given some of my other older bikes to a few up and coming triathletes, younger girls. And yeah, I just want to kind of see the female side of it expand a bit. There isn't a lot of us our age. A lot of triathletes are age groupers, maybe because it is a bit more of an expensive sport, because there's 3 different sports that you have to juggle and you have to have all the equipment for all of it. But it's so great in terms of meeting people. The community is amazing. And it's really growing as a sport all over the world, not just in Ireland. So I would say to everybody to go out and try one when they do start up again. Maybe train during lockdown by doing a few runs, or get on the indoor trainer on your bike and try and promote that. So yeah, in terms of goals, it's hard with lockdown, I think, and with COVID. Everybody's a bit up in the air. I think getting through my studies this year is a good goal, and then after that, reassess. I'd like to just better myself in terms of just where I am experience wise, and then who knows for the future. Maybe Paris, maybe after that, but yeah, so just enjoying it right now, enjoying getting better on the bike, swim, and on the run.
Sounds good. Lots in store for the next few years. I think there's, like, in relation to anyone that wants to try triathlon, there's a lot of information on the website, and it is expensive, but I know after you're convincing doing a triathlon, I did see people that didn't necessarily have road bikes, and just whether you bike bar or steal a bike to get out and practice and give it a go, there is option. And there is stuff like Tri-a-Thai and some other kind of beginner triathlons that are available for people if they want to give it a go without investing fully in equipment and everything. And like duathlons and stuff are a good starter for people as well.
Yeah, and then there's the bike to work scheme as well. That can always get you started. And even if, look, after you do the triathlon, then you still always have a bike, and you can dabble into cycling. And that's the good thing about the 3 sports. Like, you never know what one might shine for you, and then you might go into that afterwards. So yeah, in terms of the different triathlons that you can try, there's so many different distances. The Tri-a-Thai one, they have like a starter tri with which is like half the distance of a normal sprint triathlon, which is great for a starter. And then there's pool triathlons like down Joey Hannon, and they have theirs in the pool. Limerick Tri Club have that there. And yeah, so there's kind of different ones for everybody, especially if you weren't, you know, too like you weren't used to the open water, which I know is scary for some people. You can start with a pool triathlon or do it some way like that. But yeah, it's a big community. You'll meet so many people. There's lots of beginners, lots of first timers. So it's great to kind of get into that community if you can.
And 4 years later, they'll be still stuck because they'll have got the bug.
Yeah, you might catch the bug. I will say that you might catch the bug once you do your first one.
I know. Thanks a million for talking to us about it. I think it's really good, obviously, what you're doing to highlight, you know, people to make sure that they are paying attention to their bodies, and you know, you're fundraising for a great cause. So we'll be sharing this and sharing the story, and we'll have all the links and everything underneath. So thanks, Mel.
Thanks, Neve.